March 16th, the regular meeting of council to order at 5:30 p.m. and ask for an introduction of amendments to the agenda.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I have none.
Thank you. So a motion to confirm the agenda for the regular council meeting of March 16th, 2022 be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Fanlon, seconded by Councillor Bath. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And declarations of pecuniary interest.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I have none.
Thank you. We have some minutes to adopt. The February 16th, 2022 regular council meeting and the February 23, 2022 special council meeting be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Fanlon. Any discussion? I see none. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And motion to receive minutes of the following municipal boards, commissions, and committees. October 20th, 2021 Police Services Board meeting, October 25th, 2021 Municipal Truth and Reconciliation Committee meeting, and January 24th, 2022 Municipal Truth and Reconciliation Committee meeting. Moved by Councillor Fanlon, seconded by Councillor Cassidy. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. And finally, a motion to receive the minutes of the Northwestern Health Unit Board of Health meetings held on January 4th, 2022 and January 21st, 2022 be received. Moved by Councillor Howie, seconded by Councillor Bath. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Determination of items requiring separate discussion. So we'll go through the numbered items. 7.1, 2021 annual summary reports. Well, do we need to lift this one, or I know we have a delegation, clerk, how do we do this?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, so if council wishes, they can ask their questions during the delegation and they can approve this on consent, or if they would prefer, this can be lifted and approved following the delegation. That's it's council's call.
I think we typically ask the questions during the delegation while the delegation's here. So let's do it that way, and we'll do this motion by consent then. If that's acceptable to council, I think I don't see any objection, so we'll carry on. Item 7.2, ice resurfacing machine purchase for Recreation and Culture Department. Councillor Timpson. 7.3, 2022 water and sanitary sewer rates. Councillor Timpson. 7.4, municipal operating budget to actual, 2021 municipal operating budget to actual. None. 7.5, 2021 statement of council remuneration and expenses. None. 7.6, Nord's transfer agreement 2021 to 2026. Thank you. 7.7, Ontario Regulation 284/09 Compliance Report 2022. I think that was a head scratch, Councillor Bath, not a hand up. Yeah, thanks. 7.8, dedicated gas tax for public transportation. 7.9, Environment Committee Annual Work Plan. Councillor Timpson. 7.10, Truth and Reconciliation Committee Annual Work Plan. 7.11, Honeybee Appreciation Month's proclamation. Councillor Timpson. All right, so we have Motion to adopt the items not requiring separate discussion. Sorry, I'll do the summarize the items requiring separate discussion first. I have items 7.2, 7.3, 7.9, and 7.11. I see head nods and nobody saying otherwise. So those are the items requiring separate discussion. And we have a motion, please, to adopt the items not requiring separate discussion, items 7.1, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, 7.7, 7.8, 7.10. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Howie. All in favor? Carried. And we will now go to our delegation, Northern Waterworks Incorporated presentation of the 2021 Annual Drinking Water Systems Report for Hudson and Sioux. And staff, Michelle, CAO, I'll let you direct this. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through Your Worship, to Dan Perrin. He's from NWI, who we contract to operate our water treatment and sewer treatment plants. We'll do the presentation to Council on the annual reports for 2021.
Hello, everyone. I wasn't really prepared to give a presentation. Nick had emailed and said that I was going to answer questions, any questions you had from the report.
Very good.
If that works for you guys, that's fine with me. I've reviewed the report and find it to be a very good report, actually. A little bit different this year. You got some pictures in there from inside the plants and outside the plants, and gives you a little idea of what it looks like in here and stuff like that. But anyways, as far as the non-compliances go, we were at 100% this year. So for both plants, there was one non-compliance in Hudson for a lead sample. It was resampled and everything came back good. So that's why it wasn't a non-compliance. But anyways, I can take any questions that anybody has.
Sure. I'll start off to get it rolling. The lead, I was surprised that and pleased that the lead sample. Well, first off, congratulations, very clean reports, extremely clean. That non-compliance in Hudson, the lead, which for a new plant, I was surprised to see a lead sample returned, but maybe it was a false return, was it?
Well, sometimes what happens, we had that happen a few years back in Sioux out here too. A lot of the fixtures that we purchased back when these plants were built, and even today, some of them, you know, the metal contains lead in them. So I know the one in Sioux out here we took from the lab sink probably about 8 or 9 years ago, 10 years ago maybe, and it came back with a high reading. Then we sampled from our regular sampling port and it came back good. So the same thing happened in Hudson, was that we were sampling at the far end of the plant where it was leaving the plant, and there is a chlorine analyzer there with a flow chamber on it. And the only thing that I could see was that there's some type of a little weight in there that lets you adjust the flows. I was thinking that maybe that or something inside the analyzer had lead in it. But then when we did the rest of the samples, they all came back good. Good.
And the E. coli in Silicate was just something got dirty on the way in, or how did? What was
I believe that was wasn't an E. coli. It was total coliforms.
Okay.
So that basically, we have that happen once every year or so. It's an indicator that there could be something there. So what they do is they make us resample again. And the same thing, we resampled the same location and it came back good.
Great. Yep. No, very clean reports, and the pictures were good. Thanks. Council,
Yeah.
Questions, comments? Councillor Lego.
Yeah, no, it's again, very clean reports, second year in a row. Also that we have some good capacity moving forward. So thanks for all your work there, Dan. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Corey.
Councillor Bath.
Yeah, it's really nice to see the clean reports, and it's nice to also see that our actual water consumption is going down, which is a good indication that that's happening. So, and we still have lots of capacity. Yeah, good report. Good work, guys.
Yeah, thanks, John. I noticed that in Hudson, you know, we've been having a little bit of higher readings up. They kind of go up and down in Hudson. I think there is some issues there in the distribution system that's very hard to find in Hudson because it's such a small system, smaller lines going to all the houses. So hopefully maybe we can work on that a little bit more during the summertime, but we'll see what happens. It always goes up in Hudson in the summertime quite a bit.
Councillor Howie.
I see Councillor Cassidy had his hand up.
I'm going around. Go ahead, Councillor Howie. I'll get to everybody. I honestly will.
Well, just thank you for the report. Nothing to add.
Thank you. Councillor Timpson.
No questions or comments. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy.
No, thanks, Dan. I think you guys are doing a great job. You're making it easy on us with two really good reports back to back like this. So great stuff and really happy to see it. So thank you.
And Councillor Fenelon.
Nice to see a good report, I guess, for water in Hudson. It's still staying good, I guess. And was that lead at a Hudson one?
It was right from the water treatment plant. So it was taken from the far end of the plant where we generally take the samples from the lab sink, and it was taken from a different location. So the location where it came from has some type of lead in the fixture or something like that. So just to touch on that a little bit, we had some areas in Hudson and some homes in Hudson that had higher lead results in the past. So since we raised the pH up as part of the corrosion control, since we've done that, we've seen the numbers in the lead drop down in the homes where it was high. So we keep sampling from the spots where it was high to keep seeing that it is going down or it's getting better. Some of the places, I think there was one on Bernier Crescent, they went in and they changed the fittings and some of the fixtures, and it went from quite high to nothing at all as soon as they did that. So most of the time with lead, it comes from the fixtures or the lead solder in the homes, the older lead solders in the homes. So sometimes it's taken care of that way, but as I just said, we did the corrosion control plan to help reduce that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. I'll just have one more question. In terms of the capacity is good. Our population is increasing, some of it in the rural, not on the system, but yet the demand is not increasing, let's say, in proportion. Is that because of changes? I know there were changes done at the water treatment plant itself. Is it because you're finding leaks, or why are we remaining reasonably static in terms of demand?
I think that it's because of some leaks that were repaired. I think it was last winter. Yeah, maybe last winter there was a couple of leaks, and one of them was up by the water tower that was fixed. It might even have been the year before, but I think it was sometime in the last couple of years. We did do a leak detection a few years back that found some major ones. One of them was in front of the post office that had been leaking for quite a few years. So, you know, as they fixed these leaks, the numbers dropped down for sure, and hoping that we can keep them down like that.
And you changed the backwash system at the plant too to reduce the use of treated water, didn't you?
I'd have to look at that, Doug, to see. We do play with the numbers on that a fair bit. So the durations of the back pulses, which back pulses happen every 7 minutes while the plant's running in silica here. So, and it uses about a cubic meter every time it backwashes. So sometimes, depending on the fouling of the filters, we may turn that up to try to prolong or a clean that we need to do. So sometimes it does change, but it's been running pretty much the same for the last 6 months to a year that I know of right now.
Okay, good. Well, good reports, and it's good to know that we have considerable capacity.
Yeah.
Anything further, Council? Staff, CIO.
Through your worship, perhaps our manager of public works and
Sure.
and infrastructure would like to make some final comments on the report. Jeff?
Just glad to hear that, or sorry, through you, Mayor Lawrence, just that I was pleased to see that everyone is happy with the report. I know certainly coming from the previous community I was at, this would have been an exceptional report. So very good to see, and I think Dan and his crew are doing a great job. So very happy to see that.
Thanks, Public Works Manager. Absolutely. This is 2 years in a row. Good stuff. Thank you. So if there's nothing else, that's part of the consent agenda to receive that. And this actually is, you make our task easy, because this is one of the highest liabilities that we as council have, is for the drinking water system. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to the items requiring separate discussion and start with item 7.2. The council authorizes the purchase of an Olympia Millennium E ice resurfacing machine at a cost of $138,500 plus HST. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Bath. Discussion starting with Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, just a couple of clarifications. The HST isn't included in that. That would be about $18,000. Is that recoverable? That's for my first question. Is that recoverable? The 18,000?
CAO, do you want to direct that question?
Yes, I can answer it, to your worship. Through your worship, the HST is a combination of the GST at 5% and the provincial sales tax of 8%. So what the net cost to the municipality is about 22% of the 8%. So the majority of that is recoverable. So the 5% GST is recoverable, plus 22%, sorry, 78% of the 8% provincial sales tax is recoverable.
Okay, and do we have any plans as to what we do with the old one? It looks like we have to use it for another year. Can it be sold, or?
Yes, we've had discussions. Ronnie, I'll let you answer that.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, just to answer the question of Councillor Timpson, if we want to sell it, it does not cover up the cost even for the transportation to the auction. So we would be using it for outdoor skating rink, or even maybe at Hudson Rink, where we have people from different communities come to practice and use that facility for skating. So we will use it there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Council? Councillor Cassidy.
Is there any flexibility with the date of delivery, or are they pretty fixed in that 12-month?
Well, through you, Mayor Lawrence, the thing is that we did have a discussion with the owner himself is a sales rep, so we did have a chat with him, and because we are their old clients and we had a pretty good relation with the previous manager, keeping a relation with them. So they would be pretty fast in delivering, but when it's a small scale industry and when they get an order, they start working on it. So I'll push my best to get it. I know which we have the upcoming season for the ice, which will come in pretty soon. And we'll try to get it before that, but worst come to worst, we'll have to use our old machine for the couple of initial days, and then we can use the new machine when it comes in.
Anything further, council? I see nothing further, so I will ask all in favor. Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Ronnie. Item 7.3, that council authorizes the passing of bylaw number 19-22, being a bylaw to establish the water and wastewater service rates and charges for the production, treatment, storage, and distribution of water and/or wastewater in the municipality of Sioux Lookout, and to repeal bylaw number 15-21. Moved by Councillor Fenlon, seconded by Councillor Cassidy, and discussion, starting with Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, I don't feel, I feel that this is not time to be raising our water rates. You know, the price of oil is going up, price of food is going up, and this is just going to add to you know, people's hardship post-pandemic. And I think we should put this off for a while. Yes, it's only $4 for the minimum, but it was $4 last year, and that adds up to a 10% over a 2-year period for the lowest rate. And then it'll just get, the percentage will increase as time goes on. And worse for people that have families and use much more than the 14 cubic liters, 14,000 cubic liters. So I don't think it's the time to do it. I think we need to just wait. We have a good surplus this year for water and sewer, and I can't support a rate increase at this time.
Thank you. I'll go around the table. Start Councillor Bath.
Well, I guess I've always supported it, things moving forward, and I continue with this one. I understand that certainly there's been some hardship. The problem, if we don't increase it now, we'll be back where we were. We're going to be increasing it 10% in a couple of years. We're increasing it very slightly now. That's the proper way to do it. And I certainly agree with
Councillor Fenlon.
I think we should keep it going. We're that pipes and stuff like that in underground is going to start hurting us coming maybe in 4, 5, 10 years, but still we've got to keep improving it and keep moving on with it. And yes, I think it should stay.
Councillor Lego.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's only for the next 2 years and it'll be reassessed again. Hopefully by then we will see some funding coming in from the government to cover the big bill of the new CTU for the wastewater. Hopefully we can get that down. If we get that down, then we can reassess and look at that for 2024. So I'm okay. I understand Councillor Timpson's concerns. I have the same concerns. We have multiple levels of government that the cost of living is spiraling out of control for everyone. But these are the things that we need to do here. We've all voted on this, the new CTU and other projects, and we need to be bringing in the money to cover those costs. So it's going to be some short-term pain for a bit, but we need to cover what's going on and what we've all voted for.
Thank you. Councillor Howie.
Yeah, I echo much of what Councillor Lego said. I do find myself on the side and have shared many of the same thoughts as Councillor Timpson. This is definitely a season of hardship, a season of inflation, a season of increased cost due to the political climate in our world. But also at the same time, we do have to continue with the progress locally, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we will see something and promises made even in this coming election cycle. I did see the treasurer had her hand up, I think, so I'm curious what she'll have to add.
Councillor Cassidy.
Caught me. No, I do agree. I agree with a lot of what Councillor Lego said as well. I think a small incremental approach to this is the right way. it sets us up in a better position after 2 years if we need to reassess, and maybe we pause for a year or something if there is funding or stuff available. It's setting us up for success, but it gives us the flexibility to change and adapt if we need to. The only other thing I wanted to propose to the group here, and seeing if there's an appetite for discussion on this, is I know I brought it up in October when we had the contractors here that presented the rate increases and the water rates. Part of the MOE guidelines come around ensuring users pay for the services that they are provided with and consume, which is the metering and whatnot. And because we don't have a meter on our sewer, we lump it in the sewer rates based on the water usage off the water meter. So the question is there's a lot of people in town that maybe they water their grass, they water their gardens, they fill up swimming pools in the summer, some of that water that doesn't go back into our sewer system. I'm looking to see if there's an appetite here to potentially explore if there is an option for some form of deduction or something for those that do see a spike in usage over the 3 months, say June, July, and August. And see if there is something that maybe there's a bit of reprieve on the sewer rates for some of that usage going forward. I think it's a fair approach to things, especially if, you know, we have an environment committee that's encouraging local food, water and gardens. It goes to the overall appeal of the community with regards to having people nice lawns. I think it could be something that we look for, and I understand Councillor Timpson's point of view as well. As I agree, there are a lot of other things that are increasing and going up, and if there's a way that the municipality can be fair and flexible with some of the rates and some of their increases, I think that would be an avenue worth exploring. So I'll leave that on the table for discussion. That would be something I wouldn't think needs to be added to this. I'm in favor of supporting this, but potentially it could be something that staff come back to us with if there are options. Obviously, I would encourage something that isn't overly administrative burden, something that would work with the system. But if there is an option and staff could come back, or if there's not, it'd just be nice to hear. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm in favor of proceeding as we had really decided on this previously in a previous motion, the increases. We just had a clean water treatment plant water report related to our water treatment systems in Hudson and Sioux Lookout, and in that report was outlined the various expenditures that were made to allow for that, you know, in part contribute to a clean report and keep our system operating well. And those expenditures come from these user fees. We need the user fees to maintain our systems in good condition. And if we let them slip, the cost will be enormously higher than a 3.8% rate increase. And it'll be a surprise and unexpected, and it'll hit everybody harder in the pocketbooks than spending money on a regular basis and having the budget there to maintain systems on a regular basis. That's my feeling, and I fully support the rate increase. I will defer to staff and CAO. You can direct in terms of the suggestion from Councillor Cassidy. Is that something that how do we proceed with that?
If that's council's direction, we'll ask for a motion to direct staff, and we will come back with something.
All right, I'll throw my 2 cents in. I think it's muddying the water a lot. I think it would be a very difficult implementation. My feeling is I would be in favor of just maintaining the rates as they are. I think the Environment Committee also encourages people not to water grass or to have alternate methods. Anyway, I'll go around the table and ask, does council want to give a direct, finance treasurer, you had a comment?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I do remember the conversation that we had with PST in regards to that. Just on a note, in regards to that, when people have pools and certain large items like that within their backyard, when they go to drain their pool, not all the water gets goes straight into the ground. Some of it does go on the road, which then goes into our system, which then goes into our plants in order to get flushed through. So it's not It's not like in regards to pools, for example, it's not like all the water when they go to drain it, it just drains right into the ground and that's it. The other item to just consider, we can still look at all the numbers if you wish, is the fact that yes, you would be able to lower it in the summer, but then you would also have to possibly increase it in the winter in order to still bring in the revenue that you need in order to maintain the infrastructure that we currently have.
I'll just go around the table again for comments on this. Councillor Bath.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Mayor Lawrence. I think it does muddy the water, and I also think it's a have and a have not situation. The people who put it on their grass and fill their swimming pools, they probably can afford to pay the higher fee. So I don't think it's a real level playing field if we adopt something like that.
Councillor Fenlon.
No comment. I'm sticking with what I said and go ahead with their increase.
Thank you. Councillor Lego.
Same boat. For me, I go to the spring and get jugs of water for my garden, so I don't use tap water. So at this time, I think I would prefer just sticking with what's going on, and maybe if Councillor Cassidy wants to bring this up at another time, we can look at it again. But right now, I'm not interested in doing that.
Councillor Timpson.
And no, I stick with what I say. I think we need to really look at, the rapidity with which we are increasing the rates. And I understand we have to increase somewhat, but I think we're going too fast and too much at this point. Maybe we could just wait for a while until things settle down with the price of oil post-pandemic. I just don't think that right now is a good time. And, I'm not too keen on, reducing a rate for using the pools or even watering gardens, because we do get fair bit of rain. And if we don't, well, we pay more for using water to do our grass or to do our vegetable garden, whatever. So I think I'd rather stay away from that at this point.
Councillor Howie.
I think Councillor Cassidy's idea is actually quite great. I think in the idea of exploring the opportunity for some kind of progress or change in the way in which we do our billing, especially in fostering an environment where maybe we're promoting gardening, we're promoting homegrown foods. I think the simple direction of what we're talking about is not, have not giving the big guy a break. But we're simply maybe if we're going to get into those waters, maybe we're providing that individual with the break to build a garden and afford those extra resources. So I think I support Councillor Cassidy's motion in at least developing a report on what something like this may look like. That's where I'm standing on this, but the CAO I see has her hand up. So
Yeah, I don't think there's a motion on the floor related to it, but we're just looking council's feeling on Councillor Cassidy's suggestion and direction to staff. CAO.
I'm not going to offer an opinion because that's not my job at the table, but I do have an idea of a program that could facilitate the reduction of the use of water. So staff can come back with a report on that if council wants to entertain it. Has nothing to do with the rates themselves, but a program to allow for alternative use of water.
All right, I'll let Councillor Cassidy have the last word on this before I'll sum up and see what council says about my sum up.
No, and I appreciate everyone's opinion. This is something that was brought to me, and I understand that, if you're looking at your rates with your actual usage and how it's broken down, there is your delivery charges that I believe are associated with that infrastructure, and then there's your usage, which is associated with the treatment and the processing of the water you use as well. So that was what I was getting at, was the fact that you're paying for the usage on water that may or may not be entering, I think most likely may not be entering our sanitary sewer system. that's all I was asking to bring to the table. And I think it is a fair look. It's something that could be explored. I do understand that there is a potential for misuse or muddy the waters. I do appreciate that it probably would create a burden for staff to look into. It is something that the contractors did address when I asked this question in October, and they did say some municipalities have looked at some kind of a discount or whatnot for that because of that stipulation in the MOE guidelines about the pay for the services that they're provided. So obviously I don't think the appetite's there at the table. So between myself and Connor, I think we're the only two that support it. So I brought it up for discussion. I think it's something to consider, but yeah, I don't think it'll have the support. So
Thanks, Councillor Cassidy. You make my job easy there. But at the same time, CAO, you've offered to do something, and that will be sort of like the halfway point on this, that there's not a direction to do it, but if you're doing something, we look forward to your report on that you've offered to do.
Okay.
Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, I would fully support that, that there be mechanisms by which people can save on water. A few years ago, the Environment Committee had as prizes the pails for collection of rainwater. So people that have gardens can use the rainwater to water their gardens, so on. And little things like that. So I fully support that report, how we can reduce our use.
All right, thank you. If there's nothing else, Council, I'll call the vote on the water and sanitary sewer rates. Seeing nothing else, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 7.9, Environment Committee Annual Work Plan. The Council approves the Municipality of Sioux Environment Committee's 2022 work plan as attached in the committee work plan submitted for Council's consideration in compliance with bylaw number 79-15, being a bylaw to establish the terms of reference for council-created committees. Moved by Councillor Fenelon, seconded by Councillor Lego. Thank you. And Councillor Timpson, discussion.
Yeah, just one thing that continues to come up at the Environment Committee is being alerted by council or staff about some issue that might be relevant, a development issue, for example, that the Environment Committee might wish to discuss. The closest thing that we have gotten to is in number 2, responsibilities, make recommendations to council concerning related policies, practice, and bylaws. So I would just like to, sort of put in the word there that we would really appreciate hearing about things that are coming to council beforehand, even so that we can think about it and just offer a comment here and there. And it's come up before and it's not been terribly well received, but I think when we're talking about community engagement, and the Environment Committee has been going for 15 years now, and it was one committee that survived the committee review last week. And if we want to keep people, I think we have to keep them informed. And an example is the 7.11, which we didn't know about in advance. And I'll speak to that later on. That was something that we have been discussing, and then it would have been really nice if we'd known that was coming up. So I would just like, that's my comment on our terms of reference or our work plan for this year.
I'll just ask staff, any comments on Councillor Timpson's comments through the CAO?
I don't want to put the clerk on the spot, but he's in charge of the agendas. So sometimes we're putting these reports together just 2 weeks prior to council. And
sorry, CAO, I was referring to the comments about the Environment Committee and getting notifications.
Yeah, but that's what Councillor Timpson's referring to. He's knowing what reports are coming to council. Sometimes they're late reports coming to council, so it's hard to get them to another a committee that's advisory committee to council when the reports aren't on the agenda yet. That's what I'm trying to say. They're fluid. I will defer to the clerk to comment more on the actual timing of the agendas.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, thank you, Michelle. Yes, you're quite right. Most months, the agenda is being finalized late on the Friday afternoon before it's emailed to council. There are changes to reports, there are additions, there are deletions, right up until most times almost 4:30 or later on the Friday when council receives it. So I would find it, I'm not sure how the process would work, that if council is just getting the stuff on Friday before the council meeting on Wednesday, and the environment committee's meetings don't align up to give them an opportunity to review those items before the council meeting, I'm not quite sure how that process would work.
Councillor Timpson.
Well, it's not just something that's coming to council. I know that though in this particular case, perhaps we could have been advised of the request, and because that would have come in before Friday. But generally too, just bringing to our attention possibly some project that's in the works that we might be interested in and commenting on. So it doesn't necessarily be something that's coming to council right away, but just generally activities of the municipality that would be of interest to the environment committee. So it's not just on council reports and council agenda items, but just generally speaking, other types of projects as well.
Clerk.
Through Mayor Lawrence, as council is aware, all of the major projects and initiative for the upcoming year are always approved as part of the budget process. So at the beginning of each year, there's a list of capital projects. Managers speak during the budget to talk about non-capital projects that their departments will be undertaking. So from my perspective, that's the notification. That's a public process. The budgets are public, the reports are public. So I would respectfully suggest that that notification comes during the budget cycle and once the budget's approved.
And you're suggesting, I think, that if the Environment Committee or any other committee has a particular interest in specific projects, that they could advise staff through their staff advisor of those projects after the budget is approved. Okay, I think that's fair. CAO.
Also, in addition to what the clerk has just said, I provide weekly updates to council on the progress of projects and anything new coming up. And we do have 2 councillors that receive that information. So that's also information that if they feel they need more information to bring to the Environment Committee, that could be an avenue to request additional information.
All right, is there any further comment on this item? Council? Seeing none, this is a motion. Yes, that we received the work plan and we had a mover and a seconder. So all in favor? Carried, thank you. 7.11, the council declares May and June 2022 honeybee appreciation months, and further the council directs staff to allow residents' yards to exceed the maximum height permitted for grass and/or weeds during the months of May and June 2022, pursuant to bylaw number 16-06, being a bylaw to provide for the maintaining of land in a clean and clear condition. Moved by Councillor Fanlon, seconded by Councillor Timpson, and start the discussion. Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, we were just going to suggest that the title be changed to the Pollinator Appreciation Month. In our discussions at the Environment Committee, we have used the term pollinator rather than honeybee, because there are many species of honeybees that pollinate, and butterflies and so on. So I just suggest a very friendly amendment to that, to call it the Pollinator Appreciation.
And I think the mover was Councillor Fanlon. Is that correct, clerk?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, that is correct. Just to clarify, though, that this is a specific request from Mr. Reagan Breeze. He did make a delegation to council last year, which initiated the first annual Honeybee Appreciation Months. He is specifically requesting the same be done this year. I just wanted to include that information. And yes, Mayor Lawrence, the mover was Councillor Fenlon.
And the clerk, just to finish here, the change to pollinator wouldn't be regarded as offensive or take away from this, would it in any way?
No, but it would differentiate Sioux Lookout from all the other communities that pass similar proclamations, Dryden, Kenora, all the other areas that participate sort of in this themed honeybee appreciation month. So we would just call it something different in Sioux Lookout, I suppose.
Councillor Timpson, any comments on that?
Well, it would be more in line with the what the Environment Committee had been discussing, to use the word pollinator.
Councillor Lego.
Maybe the Environment Committee can talk to Mr. Breeze and see and have that back and forth before we go ahead and change the name. That he came to us and had a passionate discussion about his beliefs, and we agreed with those, and it was his program, and he called it the Honeybee Appreciation Month. So if the Environment Committee would like to discuss with him and then come back to us and say, yeah, and then for next year, we can look at changing the name.
That seems fair. I think the point is the guts of the bylaw is what's important here. Move the name change. I understand what you're saying, Councillor Timpson, and whatever be saying. Maybe we could look at it for next year. Would that make sense? And then it's sort of walking that line, Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, I mean, honeybee versus a pollinator, I guess it really isn't a big deal.
Okay, well, we'll save it for next year, and then maybe the Environment Committee could get in touch with Mr. Breeze, or the clerk could, and just see what he thinks. So, and it shouldn't be, it's not Mr. Breeze's anymore. It's been adopted by municipalities. It's ours to do with as we choose. I think the idea came with passion. It was a good idea. We thought it was a good idea, and we adopted it last year. We're doing it again this year. So, clerk.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, just one other piece of information with respect to that. I know in a couple of the other communities that adopted the honeybee appreciation, Mr. Breeze actually offered programming for youth, teaching them how to keep bees and so on. So it's sort of fit with that theme. I'm not sure if he's planning on offering similar training and educational opportunities to Sioux Lookout youth, but that's just another consideration.
Sure. And we can figure that out over the course of the next year, and come prepared with a name that isn't open to such deep discussion. Councillor Cassidy.
Yeah, just a kind of a question. I know it's referenced in the report that the reason is because you brought this up again, but I know we approved and moved forward with this last year, and it was in the Environment Committee's work plan. So would this have come to council if Mr. Breeze didn't contact us?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, no, it would not. There was no, last year when it was approved, it was only approved for last year. It wasn't approved for an annual commitment.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, if I could speak to that.
Yes.
I had actually planned to bring it to council for April, so thank you, clerks, for jumping the gun there. And I seen that, I was like, oh, okay then, perfect.
Very good. I'm going to call the vote. Okay. I'm going to call the vote on this because I think everybody's happy to say yes. So all in favor? Thank you. We can all let our hair grow a little bit longer now for 2 months. That brings us to bylaws. Bylaw number 17-22, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into it and execute the municipal funding agreement for the transfer of dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation program between the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux Lookout and the Minister of Transportation for the Province of Ontario. Bylaw number 18-22, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute an agreement between the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux Lookout and Her Majesty the Queen in right of Ontario as represented by the Ministry of Northern Development, Mines, Natural Resources and Forestry, Northern Ontario Resources Development Support, NORDS. And bylaw number 19-22, being a bylaw to establish the water and wastewater service rates and charges for the production, treatment, storage, and distribution of water and or wastewater in the municipality of Sioux, and to repeal bylaw number 15-21. The bylaws numbers 17-22, 18-22, and 19-22 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Fenelon, seconded by Councillor Bath. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And no motions to reconsider.
Through Mayor Lawrence, I have not received any.
And outside resolutions, none. So councillor reports. Councillor Bath.
We unfortunately we had our pace meeting this month was lack of quorums, so we moved a few weeks. I'll be able to report on at the next meeting. And other than that, with hydro meeting, standard thing. One thing I did want to comment on was the article you put in the bulletin about the situation in the Ukraine. That was very, very well put together, very timely and well done. It's nice to see the mayor of our community putting something forward like that. It was, but I'm glad to see it.
Thank you. Councillor Fenelon. Councillor Fenelon, you're muted still. There you go.
Yeah. I had one meeting I had to cancel out of, the LCC meeting, something else, so that was all I had for the month.
Thank you. Councillor Lego.
Yeah, special council meeting February 23rd, and we've had 2 Cedar Bay ad hoc committee meetings already. So, and that's everything.
Good. Thank you. Councillor Timpson.
Yes, no, I agree with Councillor Bath. It is good to see the mayor of a small municipality recognizing what's the larger global environment that we are part of. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. KDMA meeting, library board open house, and which I attended, which was fairly well attended, and it's really good to see the library open now. And unfortunately, I missed the TRC meeting. At the Environment Committee meeting, we now have a Facebook page on which there is educational material for anyone who wants to join to access, and people can, anyone in the public may join this Facebook page, and they may post educational ideas that they have, and it's largely to spread the word more about climate change and what we as citizens can do to ameliorate, mitigate, and adapt to climate change. RUC meeting, or rather the Resource Utilization Committee of the Hospital Board. The big issue is the MRI is getting an MRI is looking positive for us here in Sioux Lookout, which will be a great boon. We will have to raise some money for the capital costs, but if the operating costs are approved, then we're set to go. And that was pretty much my month.
Thank you. Councillor Howie.
Yeah, pretty time seemed to fly by there, but really just the Cedar Bay ad hoc committee meetings 2 so far. Looking forward to progress along with the other councillors and other committee members. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy.
Yeah, as the other 2 councillors alluded to, the 2 Cedar Bay ad hoc committee meetings. Off to a good start there. Special council meetings. I had a conflict with my environment committee meeting, but so I couldn't make it. However, one of the members did send out a bit of a seminar on composting and soil health. So I was able to attend that and sit in on that. and hoping to bring back some material and some discussion points on that to the next meeting. So other than that, that's kind of been my month.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for your comments on the bulletin article on Ukraine. I was surprised when I looked at the census and found out that there were Ukrainians were such a large portion of the ethnic origins of Sioux, 550 or so, larger than Italians. And for some reason, I thought that Italians would have been in that bracket. Surprising. But anyway, there it is. Good. And I did, just to finish that, and I'll comment on Minister Thibodeau's visit. The Minister of Mental Health and Addictions was here, came in on Monday and left yesterday. And the last thing I said to him was, I've heard a good idea, Mr. Thibodeau, from somebody smarter than me, who suggested that the province we know that there will be some receipt of, I'm sure, of refugees from the Ukraine to Canada, given that Canada is such a home for people of Ukrainian origin, that why not take the license plate sticker refund and make it optional, that people could, if they chose to, they could give that back to the province to run a refugee program. I'm sure there are many people who might want to do that. So I'm not asking for council approval for that, and it would be optional for people. And there's only one small town mayor suggesting something to a minister who sits on cabinet. So while the minister was here, it was interesting. We did have he facilitated a call with the premier. So we were meeting with the Friendship Accord chiefs and the CIO and the executive director, Jacob Stockstetter, of the Friendship Accord at the Forest Inn. And we had, I think, a 3-hour meeting. And during the course of the meeting, the minister rose up and put his cell phone on the desk and said, "Excuse me, we just have to we're going to have this call." And it was the premier joined us for 15 minutes during our meeting, which was great. We talked about the project at hand, but we also brought up long-term care and emphasized the needs. And he spoke about that. And then we were so serious, he got the Minister of Long-Term Care, the new minister, Minister Calandra, on the line. So we pushed hard, and the follow-up to that was the CIO was going to get the contact from Manny Yawin back into Minister Calandra's office, and he committed to try and push hard to get that pushed through. But we've heard that before, but it was good to get it at the highest level we can, and there you have it. You'll be familiar, I think by now, you may have seen the media release from Minister Thibodeau, $2.1 million, the Friendship Accord Incorporation, and just to distinguish it from us, it's the incorporation of the 4 First Nations, and their executive director are now working hard to get that funding into the reality of something operational. During the course of the month, a few media interviews with the Bulletin yesterday. I guess it was TBT was here to interview the minister and interviewed myself as well. KDSB and Health Unit board meetings. Both organizations conducting their strat plan now, so a few extra meetings. Friendship Accord, we've had multiple meetings with the Friendship Accord, with SLIFNA and others related to the addictions treatment beds. Police Services Board meeting, and with the CIO, I traveled to Kenora with the OPP Inspector Dual to review their addictions treatment that OPP are very knowledgeable about in the Lake of the Woods Hospital. The Morning Star program there was very informative for what might be developing here. Council meetings and special meetings. The CIO, I think, will be reporting later on on our meetings with the fixers group related to OPP costing. IMO, Indigenous Relations Task Force meeting, had the first meeting of the Provincial Task Force on the Northern Ontario Transportation that I became a member of. That we had the first meeting, which is sort of, as you can imagine, introductions and terms of reference setting, etc. And I brought forward a few of the things that we all had to bring something forward that was of special interest, and we'll be doing that again. One of the things I emphasized was a a rational plan for the development of all-weather roads to access the remote north, not based on one-off mining projects, but based on communities and people and maintaining existing service flow patterns so that you don't disrupt the economies in municipalities like Sioux. Maniawan Foundation, and same thing, Councillor Timpson, this is the foundation part, and the MRI is going to be a big project. Fundraising for the foundation is going to be taking that on as a fundraiser now that it's getting closer to reality, as Councillor Timpson reported. We had an MTBC meeting, the Municipal COVID Coordination Committee, First Mining, I was called, and they provided me with an update, which is sort of a courtesy, I think. Their environmental assessment and their feasibility study will be coming out in the next month or two. So look for that if you're interested in receiving copies. Contact the clerk or CAO. And I said at the end of it, I said, thank you very much for the update. And these meetings are only of interest to me if the road is coming south from Cat Lake to Slate Falls and Silicon. So just, if it's going to your falls, then carry on, but we don't need to be involved. Truth and Reconciliation Committee had a meeting with Eric Malillo, Minister Tibollo, and today I received a call from the Attorney General's office. This is related to the Kenora Community Justice Center pilot project that is now becoming a reality in Kenora. And boy, I guess it goes back 4 years when I pushed myself into engagement of that project to tell them essentially that if you only do something in Kenora, it's a failure. Most of the people, more than half the people going through the justice system to Kenora are coming through Silicon, and you need to have at least a satellite here or something here. So I had a courtesy call to update me on that, and I had basically made the same points again and was promised that they would be looking at something. I had also attended not with Councillor Timpson, but same day the library open house. I thought that was great, and now I'm faced with the heavy responsibility of getting the book I borrowed back on Saturday, because that was 3 weeks ago and it'll be due on Saturday. But I was very pleased. I didn't realize you could actually borrow magazines. You can actually take, it's not for a week, not 3 weeks, but you can take current copies of whatever your favorite magazine is that the library has out for a week. So I took advantage of that twice. That was great. That was my month, Council, and now we'll move on to, I guess, closed session. And Clerk, why did you handle this part, the motion to get us there?
Certainly, through you, Mayor Lawrence. So the motion reads, the council moves into closed session at 6:33 p.m. To discuss matters of a general nature as noted below. Subject matter relating to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or school board employees, pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, Section 239, subsection 2, subsection B. One item, appointment to council's boards, commissions, and committees, membership. Subject matter relating to a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or the local board, pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, Section 239, subsection 2, subsection C. One item, property east of the airport. Subject matter relating to labor relations or employee negotiations pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, Section 239, subsection 2, subsection D. One item, staffing matters. And finally, subject matter relating to a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. Pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, Section 239 2K. One slight change here, it'll actually be two items. The first will be police services, and the second section will be project negotiations.
All right. Moved by Councillor Cassidy, seconded by Councillor Fanlon. All in favor? Carried, and we'll join the closed session. And it looks like we all made it. Yep. Am I missing anybody? No. No. Good. Mr. Clerk, I'm going to let you, because you were fooling around with these motions, you can do the report out from closed session.
To you, Mayor Lawrence, thank you. So that council ratifies direction given to staff in closed session respecting property east of the airport and staffing matters. And further, that council approves amending Schedule A of bylaw number 92-18, being a bylaw to make appointments to various boards, commissions, and committees by adding the Sioux Municipal Accommodation Tax Committee and the members appointed previously by council at the November 17th, 2021 regular council meeting. And further, that council approves amending Schedule A of bylaw number 92-18, being bylaw to make appointments to various boards, commissions, and committees by deleting Anshal Sharma from the Sioux Municipal Accommodation Tax Committee and appointing Alana Anderson to the Sioux Municipal Accommodation Tax Committee.
A mover? Moved by Councillor Cassidy, seconded by Councillor Fenelon. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And then we can go to the confirmatory bylaw. That bylaw number 16-22 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Municipality of Silicote, March 16th, 2022 regular council meeting be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Fenelon. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, staff, council. We now adjourn in our usual way. And watch your footing tomorrow. Boy, did I get a surprise when I walked out the door this morning. What a slide.